Hi, everyone. So my name is Edward. I'm the head of growth at Skymind, and we're the company behind deep learning for J. And the J stands for Java, and that's really important. So my email is edward@skymind.io. So if you have any questions after this talk, feel free to email me. So edward@skymind.io. So some background. We were founded 3 years ago, 2014. We have about $6 million in seed funding. We graduated from Y Combinator. We have about 12 Fortune 2000 clients, about 4,600 people in our Gitter support channel. So Gitter is where people from the community interact with our engineers. 160,000 downloads of deep learning for J per month. And we have about 25 people. Most of them are deep learning engineers. 6 have PhDs. And we're distributed across the globe because we only hire from our open source community. And we have an office in San Francisco and an office in Tokyo. So that's our background. So what is Skymind? Intuitively, just think of us as Red Hat for AI or Cloudera for deep learning. It's exactly the same business model. And the one-liner is that we build custom deep learning solutions for Fortune 2000 corporations and government using open source software. So that's what we do. And what we sell, so classic open source, nothing different. Services, training, and support. So for services, we do proof of concept. We basically build a custom deep learning model tailor-fit to your data. For training, we have 2 types of training, public and private. So public courses are just public deep learning courses, and privates are private corporate seminars they're both led by a Skymind instructor. And then support, so we'll sign an SLA, and we will ensure that whatever is built continues to work. And this is just our suite of deep learning tools. All of it's open source, Apache 2.0. It's free to use. So Deep Learning 4J is our flagship. That's our general purpose deep learning library. That's where we build neural networks. RL4J is where we support reinforcement learning. ND4J is the computations behind Deep Learning 4J. That's where we support GPUs. Arbiter is where we do model tuning. So DataVec is for ETL. And model import is where you can import a pre-trained model from other popular frameworks like TensorFlow. So it's basically the bridge between data science and data engineering. And just zooming in on Deep Learning 4J, remember the J stands for Java. We don't do Python. And the 3 benefits is that it's open source, Apache 2.0, and that basically means that it's free to use, there's no licensing required, and any solution that you build can be shared or resold with no limitations. You don't have to pay Skymind anything. It's distributed, so if you have like a large data set, it could take months to train. So neural net training is very computationally expensive, so you want to distribute across a cluster of servers, and that's where GPUs are very important. It's almost required nowadays. If you don't have GPUs, it's basically a joke. And then it's written in Java, and this is really important because big companies use Java. So it's data engineering and DevOps friendly, and we integrate with widely used big data tools like Hadoop, Spark, and Kafka, which are all in the JVM. And this is just a case study. Orange is it's one of the largest telcos in Europe. Skymind was helping them basically detect the type of fraud called sandbox fraud using a deep learning model called an autoencoder. And basically what it does, so the problem is that, sandbox fraud is basically when someone hijacks an international call, routes it over voice over IP, and injects it back into the network. And that way they get a free call, but it degrades the network quality for everyone, and Orange loses out on the fees. So what we do is that we use an autoencoder, and what it does is that it builds a profile of what normal calls look like, and flags calls that are abnormal, that are significantly different from the norm. And in that way, Orange's analysts can focus only on calls that are obvious cases of fraud. These are some of our other clients that we work with. So Orange, telco fraud, which I just mentioned. Trace3 is working with a large aircraft manufacturer for parts classification. Daimler is for demand forecasting, so predict the amount of cars they need to produce a couple months in advance. Ericsson was some kind of Q&A chatbot. Homeland Security is exactly what you think. Basically, it's travel risk assessment. So the next time you get on the aircraft, basically they'll score you. They'll give you a risk score to determine if you're a threat. And then canonical, which is basically a server failure prediction, predicting when a server is going to go down. And I guess the common thing among all these people is that they all use Java, and they all have, so nowadays they have so much data that their human analysts cannot keep up. So that's why they're interested in AI. And this is just our book. Adam is our CTO, and Josh is our head of field engineering, and it'll be available at the end of this month. And yeah, this is just how we engage. So basically, for the customer will provide all the data. Like you show us your data, and you tell us what problem you're trying to solve. Like how do you define success? Like what do you care about? What outcome are you looking for? And what Skymind provides is basically, figuratively, like this box, which is basically the AI engine that gets you the result that you're looking for. And I was going to show a demo, but I think I'll skip it. We have a workshop Friday at 10 a.m. And we'll go through a demo, and we'll go through how to set up deep learning 4J. And that's it.